Today, Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberger testified before Congress, and it's insane. I just don't understand. Look, we all know Matt Taibbi and Schellenberger are journalists working on this story. We know Matt Taibbi is a long and storied journalist with multiple awards and books under his name. But Congress seems to lose their absolute minds, mostly the Democrats. And I believe I can play for you a video before we get into this story that proves it's a cult and they're lying to you. Please, for the love of all that is holy, for those that have friends and family who don't believe it or can't believe it, I know maybe this won't change their minds, but you must just keep showing them. And maybe at a certain point after the 50th time you do this, you can look them in the eye and say, you are lying to me. Why are you lying to me? There's no way after everything I've shown you, you still believe this. Look at this video. Rep. Stacey Plaskett says this.
And to praise him for his work. This isn't just a matter of what data was given to these so-called journalists before us now. There are many legitimate questions.
You notice how the camera works, how they edit this. Oh, I think this was live. She calls them so-called journalists, and then Matt Taibbi looks over confused, like, did she just insult us?
There are many legitimate questions about where Musk got the financing to buy Twitter. We know for a fact that foreign countries like Qatar and to praise.
Now let me play for you Matt Taibbi's response.
That time was spent at Rolling Stone magazine. Ranking Member Plaskett, I'm not a so-called journalist. I've won the National Magazine Award, the I.F. Stone Award for Independent Journalism, and I've written 10 books, including 4 New York Times bestsellers.
It is insane that you can have someone question Matt Taibbi of all people. Let's get down to it. Republican Jim Jordan claims there was a cozy relationship between the government and big tech and claims FBI schemed to censor Hunter's laptop in hearing with Twitter files journalists. And he would be correct. In one instance, Schellenberger is, I believe it's, either of them are asked, I can't remember which one. Did the government direct censorship? And it was Michael Schellenberger says, yes. And he goes, how? And he's like, there's an email where he says, hey, flagging these to you for removal. And he says, so you think flagging something for removal is a direct demand? Well, I think, Matt, and I was really tempted to can I DM them right now? I don't know if their phones are working or what the rules are on DMing someone during a live congressional hearing. Yo, we had that dude from the New York Times who got suspended because it was the Biden administration contacted Twitter and says, why has this guy not been banned? Okay, so there is direct evidence. And I wonder if I can pull up that story. Democrats, because I didn't have this pulled up earlier. Let me see if I can. The only thing that's coming up is when I search for this. Okay, I think I found it. Well, I found this story from the old one. Alex Berenson was banned. They call him a conservative journalist. He got unbanned after winning a lawsuit, and he got banned because the government requested he be banned. Is a fact. So here's the funny thing. Here's the reason why I want to talk about this. I wanted you to see that clip of a member of Congress insinuating that Matt Taibbi is not a journalist. He's been a journalist for 30 years. I went down to Occupy Wall Street knowing who Matt Taibbi was. He wrote for Rolling Stone. And he was heavily praised by the left and by Democrats for the work that he had done. And now that he's continuing to do the same kind of speaking truth to power, all of a sudden, he's a so-called journalist. Funny how that works. It is a cult. Sorry, that's the reality. Take a look at this. The House panel probing the weaponization of the federal government and the subsequent release of the Twitter files kicked off with a fiery start. The chairman's opening statements included a tirade against the cozy relationship between big tech and government agencies. Jordan claimed that Twitter executives were tipped off that the Bidens would be the target of a hack and leak operation by U.S. government officials, including the Department of Homeland Security and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. What a coincidence, Jordan snarked. Yep. Plaskett retorted that Republicans are pushing a misleading narrative and possess questionable motives. I just don't know how to. I don't. You all know. And what? They're lying. Like, how much evidence do you need that they're lying? Go watch the episode of Joe Rogan that I did with Vijay Gadde and Jack Dorsey and compare and contrast that to the information we have learned today. and you will see outright these people are evil. I even question Jack Dorsey. I think he tries to pretend that he's not in on this game, but I think he is. Vigigate lied. They were directly working with the government. How about this? Vigigate was in meetings with government officials. They were having meetings. Tell me that there was no direct cozy involvement. There is something going on between congressional Republicans and Elon Musk, she said. Mr. Chairman, Americans can see through this. Musk is helping you out politically, and you're going out of your way to promote and protect him and to praise him for his work. Ridiculous, snapped Jordan, as he continued to bicker with Plaskett, who complained the Democrats didn't get access to letters from the Federal Trade Commission until 8 p.m. the night before the hearing. In his opening statement, Taibbi told the panel that he has attracted intense public interest when the first Twitter Files reports came out. My computer looked like a slot machine, as just the first tweet about the blockage of the Hunter Biden laptop story registered 143 million impressions and 30 million engagements. I will say this. Matt Taibbi was an excellent choice for giving this information to. I do not believe that Barry Weiss was the appropriate individual to receive access to this information. I guess I'll put it this way. I think Barry Weiss is great. And the work she does is good. But she's one of those people that I believe plays a middle of the road game where I'm willing to bet she would feign ignorance on a certain subject to not go too far to the right. But that's just my personal opinion. And I'm more than happy to have a discussion with Barry about that subject matter. Maybe she's just not informed on a lot of these issues. What ended up happening was after she was granted access to the Twitter files, she actually came out and was critical of Elon in some capacity. Elon then, was critical back. But the idea was he wasn't just giving information to people who were acting favorably towards him. I think the Twitter files should have been given to many different organizations. I believe it should have been handled much more like the NSA release, in that he should have chosen like 5 to 10 different organizations and given them access. He did not. It was only later on we learned that one of the guys blocking access to this information was a former FBI lawyer. He says, quote, "We learned Twitter, Facebook, Google, and other companies developed a formal system for taking in moderation requests from every corner of government. The FBI, DHS, HHS, DOD, the Global Engagement Center at State, even the CIA. Undeniably, making such lists is a form of digital McCarthyism." He says, "We just saw this with the COVID lab leak theory. Many of the institutions we are now investigating initially labeled the idea that it came from a lab as disinformation. Now, apparently, even the FBI takes it seriously. The First Amendment and an American population accustomed to the right to speak is the best defense left against the censorship industrial complex," he wrote. "If there's anything the Twitter files show, it's that we're in danger of losing this most precious right, without which all other democratic rights are impossible." Matt Taibbi pointed out there are leftists and liberals who are suspended and banned as well. Yet they still tried to make it about the right. Why? Because Democrats are evil. They are, I'm sorry, that's just a reality. Democrats in the January 6th Select Committee withheld evidence that could have exonerated many people, notably Jake Chansley, who was seen being escorted around the Capitol. They withhold this information. They lie to you because they want power. And that's the game they're playing now. This so-called journalist, Matt Taibbi, that was impressive to me. So-called journalist? Matt Taibbi is one of he is the journalist. He's like today's the journalist guy, Name a journalist. Name a real journalist who has a history of challenging those in power. Yeah, Matt Taibbi's like the dude. Hopefully we can get him on IRL at some point, but he doesn't live too close. Ideally, I can get him on the Friday morning show, the Culture War podcast with Tim Pool. Check that out at youtube.com/Timcast. We have last week's episode was Pete Parada, formerly of The Offspring, explaining how he got replaced because he was unable to get the vaccine and opposed the mandates. And we got a really great episode coming up tomorrow. But I'm gonna wind this one down with saying just a couple more things. It is my birthday. And you all know, and I know I'm shamelessly telling you all it's my birthday over and over again, because if there was ever an excuse for me to be become a member at timcast.com to support our work, it is certainly today of all days. And we got a bunch of other stuff coming out. We got a new song coming out, I believe, on the 24th. So the pre-orders are available for that. I'll get the link, I guess. I'm kind of taking today a little bit easy because it is my birthday, but still working. Anyway, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for hanging out. Next segment will be at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL, and we'll see y'all there.